So when the pandemic started,
the pandemic,
the lockdown, the anxiety of not knowing what this virus would mean if
the pandemic, oh boy, this has been a wild and crazy few months.
there was anxiety and fear and confusion and anger. You had to find places that comforted you. And I feel like immediately people mobilized to help out.
At the start of the pandemic, I was like, oh, it's just gonna be a little while and then we'll be going back to church like normal. I'll get to finish out my youth career like I've always imagined. But then that didn't happen. So then I was kind of like, well, what to do now? I started going to the Bible studies that Zack started, and in that Bible study, we talked about how church isn't really a place. It's about where you are and the time you give to God and his people.
I mean, there were some Wednesdays where I walked in like defeated, and I would walk away from Bible study with more energy than I had going into it. And it's because I was able to not only pour into the youth, but the youth were also like giving right back to me. And it was this really beautiful back and forth that I saw there, and in the Waking Up White group and in the Book of Joy group.
St. Paul's during this time has helped keep my soul healthy.
I've met more people in St. Paul's through the pandemic, through phone calls and Zoom meetings and that sort of thing, than we had before. You know, we had our little cluster where we used to sit and know the people around us, and it's really been wonderful to get to know more about my fellow parishioners.
We tried Zoom.
Zoom meetings. I'm getting to know people that I didn't know before.
My husband and I have been able to attend evening meetings and book studies that we wouldn't otherwise have been able to attend.
So it's kept us connected.
Yes.
And
We have really been connected. It's been wonderful.
yeah.
The coffee hour Zooms, just terrific. It's different than walking up to them and shaking their hands, but like I don't need to ask you what your name is because it's right there. And so there's an automatic connection here. We know we're both a part of this same community, and we can show each other love and continue to do that through this medium.
I do like church in my pajamas.
I like having fresh coffee for church and my slippers. That works very well. But I think the homilies have been superb, absolutely superb.
They often seem so relevant to what's happening in the world. They don't shy away from uncomfortable issues.
Over quarantine, Wednesday evenings and Sunday evenings were kind of my place to just forget about what's happening for a little bit, and so I appreciate that. Like, I needed a lot of that. It reminded me that I wasn't alone and that God is still there.
All the things that have felt unstable, my church life has felt remarkably stable.
I got involved with some folks in the county that are working on food insecurity, and everyone at St. Paul's wanted to help. People were so generous with their time, with their contributions, and that in and of itself was such a comforting thing to happen.
Having lost my oldest brother 3 weeks ago now, I think Aleta had sent his name in to be included in the prayers, and I got just a short email from both Javier and George, and have heard from other members of the church. Because of the pandemic and you're not able to be there when you know this is what's coming, is not easy. Nothing's going to take that pain away, but knowing that you've got all of these people thinking about you, praying for you and your family, it's hard to explain how much that helps.
Nothing will ever be quite the same again, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we've learned a lot about what's important and what's not important.
This is a hard time, but it is also a really profoundly special time. And one day, in God's time, we're going to be back here, and it's not like that has stopped.
And I'm just so incredibly proud of St. Paul's for the way that it's continued to live up this love your neighbor, love God.
The theme of our stewardship this year is about praying, gathering, and going out. It really captures who we are as a faith community. We gather in prayer, whether it's here, whether it's online, whether it's in your homes, and we go out into this world to do incredible things, and we want to continue that.